Hello, and welcome to Operation Mustard Seeds Project Boil the Ocean. This project will harness the free and abundant power of the sun to harvest the water and salt resources of seawater. The architect and founder of OMS, Patrick Cleary, sat down with me to discuss more details about this latest project. So, Patrick, tell us, what started your interest in this latest project?
Well, Celeste, for the last several years, I've been researching solar energy in general. Um, and I was also, maybe you'll remember 3 years ago, Atlanta, Georgia had a water shortage. And I was just kind of surprised that here in the US, we had a water shortage. I thought that only happened in like third world countries. So I thought about how the world in general needs water, and yet how three-quarters of the world is covered in water. Um, for the last year, I've been working on a study just to examine the possibility of using solar energy to separate the salt out of seawater to produce fresh water. And what I found out was that it seems that with existing technology, we could exploit solar power, and that it would be competitive with the conventional fossil fuels like coal and natural gas.
Wow. Did I hear you say that you claim solar power can be competitive with coal and natural gas?
Yes, but let's keep something in mind here. Just like the fruits and vegetables and how they grow better or worse in various regions, the same thing holds true for other resources like solar power. Here in Cleveland, Ohio, for example, we get about half the sun power that areas like Phoenix, Arizona, or Southern California would be getting. Uh, what I'm claiming is that in the sunnier areas of the world, solar power could be exploited uh, using existing technology with some development, and that it could be competitive with the non-renewable cheap fossil fuels like coal and natural gas.
I have to say, this new project seems to be quite a divergence from your last project, where you successfully launched the world's first freshwater wind farm. Tell us about that.
Well, wind power offers almost as much potential as solar power, and another one of the added benefits of wind power is that it's a mature, it's proven. That's why we're seeing a lot more wind turbines out there, and particularly for areas like here where we don't get as much sun, we happen to have opportunities for real growth for wind power. I would be remiss not to give wind power a try when we have this resource right here on Lake Erie, where the water is relatively more shallow too. So it should be easier to implement an offshore wind farm. As modest as the resources were, it turns out that a lot of the knowledge and the technology used to make that happen are going to be essential for Project Boil the Ocean and perhaps other projects down out in the future. I'll give you an example. The wind power is an intermittent power source. Uh, the data acquisition system used for that, the going through the regulatory process, a lot robust structural design for putting something out on the rough waters of Lake Erie. All those things will be no less important for this project and other projects down the pipeline.
Now, there seem to be other organizations with far greater resources that are also trying to accomplish the same goal as Project Boil the Ocean. Organizations such as Desert Tech, Solar Trust of America, and Congentrix. What makes you think you can compete with these larger, more resource-laden organizations?
Yeah, and you know what? I praise their efforts. I praise that they are trying to do the same things that I am. As far as being competitors, I don't so much view anyone else trying to do the same or very similar things as Project Boil the Ocean is trying to accomplish here. I don't view them so much as competitors, and the reason I don't is because there's so much solar power, there's so much sun hitting the earth every day that I don't view us as having to compete for it. If anything, any developments that any of us do is going to be for the greater benefit. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime, in the short future, if we should find ourselves working together toward the same ends. As far as resource loading, let's be clear. It would be helpful to have a lot more resources, and these larger organizations that are trying to do the same or very similar things um, will have probably presented some opportunities by having those resources. I've been exploring some of the concepts and the technologies that some of these organizations are using, and some of the ones that have already been implemented and are continuing to be built today. I have seen a lot of opportunities to improve on these designs and on these technologies. And what is most important is that I think that these technologies could be implemented relatively inexpensively and with very little resources. So those are where I really see the opportunities for a small organization or for a small project like mine to really make a big difference.
What are some more of the more immediate steps for Project Boil the Ocean? And what's behind the name Boil the Ocean?
Well, we're still finalizing a lot of details of the design, so I figure at least for the next year we'll be busy finalizing some of those details. Uh, we've got made some forward progress at this point, looking at some concepts, and we had to do a study to see what might actually work. Uh, Figuring at least for the next year that a lot of finalizing the design, but also a lot of testing. And now the testing and the design should be relatively inexpensive. We can do a lot of this on a computer. We can do a lot of cheap tests, but it will be a lot of work and it will take a lot of time to do these things. I'd also like to put a lot more emphasis on sort of recruiting or trying to bring other people on board. Because the more skilled and motivated people who can help out, the better it would work out for where we are now with Project Boil the Ocean.
Thanks for being here, Patrick. This has just been swell. Have a great day, all of you.